a United States fighter jet struck an oil tanker bound for Iran's Kharg Island. You clicked because this sounds like the start of World War III. The stakes are global energy prices and whether diplomacy or force will decide the future of sanctions enforcement. Here is what you need to understand. This was not a prelude to invasion, but a calibrated signal designed to disrupt supply chains without triggering total war. To grasp why a nation would choose such a risky move, we must look at how states actually behave when their economic lifelines are threatened. In the real world of international relations, actions speak louder than diplomatic cables. When Washington decided to strike that vessel, they were not aiming for territory or regime change in Tehran. They were sending a message through the only language Iran understands: kinetic disruption of assets vital to its survival. This is the art of coercive diplomacy, where force is applied precisely enough to hurt without crossing the threshold into open conflict. Consider the nature of modern sanctions enforcement. For years, Western powers have relied on financial penalties and trade bans to cripple rogue regimes. But these tools have limits when an adversary has found ways to evade them through shadow fleets or alternative trading partners. The United States needed a way to demonstrate that its threat was real. By striking a tanker heading for Kharg Island, the primary hub of Iran's oil exports, Washington showed it could physically intercept and destroy cargo even if diplomatic channels were frozen. This is not about destroying a single ship, it is about proving that no shipment can move with impunity when sanctions are in effect. Now consider this. Why target a tanker rather than a military base? Attacking a base invites immediate retaliation, potentially drawing the United States into a land war or an aerial dogfight that could spiral out of control. A strike on a civilian vessel, while severe, operates within a gray zone where escalation can be managed. The attacker creates a crisis but leaves room for de-escalation if the target state responds with restraint. This is the difference between a hammer and a scalpel. You do not smash a skull to remove a splinter. You use precision tools to address specific problems without causing catastrophic damage to the surrounding tissue. Quick resource note. I keep a curated set of Amazon search links in the description for books, gear, and tools relevant to this channel's topics. Some are affiliate links, so I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you. Please consider supporting the channel by using those links if you find something useful. The strategic logic here relies on the concept of credible signaling. A threat is only effective if the opponent believes you will carry it out. For years, Iran may have doubted that Washington would cross certain lines regarding maritime commerce in the Persian Gulf. By actually striking a vessel bound for Kharg Island, the United States removed all ambiguity from its position. The cost was high, involving significant military assets and political risk, but the return on investment is clear. It resets the baseline of what Iran can expect if they continue to violate sanctions regimes. This approach mirrors historical precedents where economic warfare took precedence over total war. During the Cold War, nations frequently engaged in proxy conflicts or targeted strikes that stopped just short of full-scale engagement. The goal was always to alter behavior without triggering an existential response from a nuclear-armed adversary. Today's geopolitical landscape is even more fragile because global energy markets are interconnected like never before. A strike on one tanker sends shockwaves through oil prices worldwide, affecting consumers in Europe and Asia as much as it affects the target state. This interdependence forces all parties to calculate risks with extreme care. Here is the thing that often gets missed by observers who focus only on the immediate violence. The strike was not an act of aggression, but a tool of enforcement designed to restore leverage. When you see military assets deployed against commercial shipping, it signals that the rules of engagement have shifted from diplomatic negotiation to physical interdiction. It tells every other potential violator in the region that the cost of non-compliance has just become tangible and immediate. The message is not about destroying Iran's economy, but about proving that its ability to generate revenue through sanctioned oil exports is now under direct threat. The effectiveness of such a strategy depends entirely on the target state's willingness to absorb pain without escalating further. If Iran responds with full-scale military action, then the signal fails and war begins. But if they respond by tightening internal security or seeking new diplomatic openings, then the United States has achieved its objective at a fraction of the cost of invasion. This delicate balance requires precise calculation. The strike must hurt enough to be felt, but not so much that it forces an all-out response. It is a high-wire act where miscalculation leads to disaster and precision leads to strategic victory. In this specific case, targeting Kharg Island was particularly significant because of its role in the regional energy architecture. As the main export terminal for Iran's crude oil, any disruption there strikes at the heart of the regime's revenue stream without touching civilian populations directly or damaging infrastructure that would require decades to rebuild. This distinction matters immensely when trying to maintain international support and avoid humanitarian crises that could turn global opinion against the attacker. The United States needed a target that was symbolic yet strategic, one that demonstrated capability while leaving room for negotiation. The underlying principle here is that in modern great power competition, military force has evolved from a tool of conquest into an instrument of economic statecraft. It is used to enforce rules, deter violations, and signal resolve without triggering the catastrophic escalation that defined previous eras of conflict. By striking a tanker bound for Kharg Island, Washington did not just sink a ship, it sank the illusion that sanctions could be ignored with impunity. This shift in operational focus marks a new phase where military capability is wielded to enforce economic compliance rather than territorial gain. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I am a one-person team working hard to make each video better than the last. Subscribe if you found value. It is the best way to show support. Drop a comment with your biggest takeaway. See you in the next video.